Okay, so let's say there's a riot and your property gets damaged or destroyed, like your building gets burnt down or your car gets smashed up. Can you get a compensation for that? Let's say, if you're not insured, or even if you are insured and you're worried about losing your excess. Yes, you can. You can actually get it from the government. This all dates back to 1866 and the Riot Damages Act. Now that has actually been superseded a little bit by a 2016 act that just sort of clarifies a few issues and simplified the system. But how it works is, look, seriously, if your property is damaged in a riot, and it has to be a riot, and see our previous videos for the definition of riot, that's the one where it's 12 or more people acting in concert and either threatening the use of violence or actually using violence. I mean, obviously the threat, there wouldn't be any damage, would there? But yeah, if your property gets smashed up in that, you can either claim directly if you're not insured, or even if you are insured and your insurance company pays out, the insurance company can then go to the government and say, we want you to indemnify us. And the great thing about this is, it actually, let's say you've got an excess on your policy. So, you can claim your policy does cover riot, because a lot of policies don't. But let's say it does, but there's an excess on that. You can actually recover the excess. And the great thing is, they actually pay on a new for old basis, except with cars. They don't pay with cars. Now, some things aren't covered. For instance, if they put your premium up or anything like that, you lose your no claims bonus. That actually, that's not taken into account. Also, you can't claim for what we call consequential loss. So let's say your business, your manufacturing premises are burnt to the ground. Then, obviously you can't manufacture. You can't claim for the loss of profit. Right now, am I being really idiotic here and going far too near the edge of this cliff? Probably, but I know you like that sort of thing. The claims are limited. They're capped to £1 million. So let's say you've got 3 buildings and they're all worth £1 million each and they're burned down. Can you do 3 separate claims? You can actually, if they're 3 separate addresses. So just for sort of thinking ahead, you might want to sort of like register in different places. What else do we need to do? Because like I say, I do these without any notes, but it just seemed really, really topical. And a few people were suggesting and being very cynical and going, the reason the government are saying, this is just violent disorder, this isn't riot, is so that they don't have to pay out. But who do you actually claim against? You claim against your local police authority. You can always Google that. Unless it's in London. If it's in London, if it's in big London, then it's the Metropolitan Police. And if it's the City of London, the square mile, which actually isn't a square mile anymore, they've actually they changed the boundaries, so now it's the square 1.006 miles. And also, there used to be this thing about how many roads in London, in the City of London, none. But now actually the boundary runs down the middle of a road on the Gold Estate. So I'm always wondering now, does that mean that London has a road? But anyway, I digress. But as you know, I like to do that. That's part of the brand that I ramble for any new viewers, both literally and metaphorically. Let's have a think. Is there anything else you need to know? Yeah, £1 million. Doesn't matter whether you're insured or not. I mean, this is the weird thing. Say you're just somebody who didn't insure your car. You only had like third party, and it's damaged. Well, actually, the government will pay for it. Oh, look, some nice pretty flowers. I'll see if I can get myself in frame with them. There you go. I'll try and make that. If I move that to one side, I might be able to use that as a thumbnail shot. Ugh. Anyway, you can't claim if you're actually involved in the riot yourself. And like I say, it does have to be a riot, so it has to be that 12 or more people. So if there's 11 guys sort of smashing your car up or burning your building down, you might want to say, oh guys, just hang on, or I just need to get somebody out of the pub. And it only covers property damage. Now, what if it's personal injury? What if actually you're injured in a riot? Can you claim? Well, yes, but that's just as part of the general criminal injuries compensation scheme, and that actually applies to any sort of crimes. And how that works is, if you are a victim of crime, then and you suffer an injury, or indeed if you are unalived, like I say, as the kids would say, your family can claim. It's based a little bit on the sort of personal injury damages, although it's not quite as much as you would get actually with a personal injury claim. But there, it's free money. What are the criteria for that? You've got to report the crime. By the way, you don't need a crime number for the Riot Act damages thing, so don't worry too much. You just have to prove that there was a riot, and like I say, you just do it on a form. I mean, obviously, with what's happened recently, it probably won't take much to argue that there has been a riot. Also, if there's a load of claims, the Secretary of State can just go, you know what, I'll take over, rather than everybody going through all the individual police authorities and things like that. But back to the criminal injuries compensation thing, you've got to cooperate with the police. Also, and this catches a lot of people out, you can't have any convictions yourself. If you yourself are a criminal, then the argument is, well, why should the state compensate you? It's not absolutely blanket, that. I mean, let's say you are the victim of a very, very serious offence, and you've got a bit of form for shoplifting or something like that. Then, in those situations, they have actually allowed it. I used to do, when I was a part of what's called the Free Representation Unit, FRU. That's how I started out in my baby barristering days. I used to do quite a few criminal injuries compensation scheme appeals. And it's weird because I got one guy, and they turned him down because, at the police station, I mean, he'd really suffered a really horrible crime. But it was a bit old school, and he was like, oh, well, mustn't grumble, worse things happen at sea, all that sort of thing. And they went, well, clearly, he's not that bothered. So we did the appeal. I literally sort of went in, this guy is just being penalised just for being a bit stoic and not being a snowflake, as the kids would say these days. And actually did allow that, so that was quite nice of them. I'm just heading down. So in the background, for regular viewers, you'll see that this is somewhere that actually filmed quite a lot. It's where I dragged Dan the other day. I'm getting remarkably close to that cliff edge, and it has been raining, and this grass is a bit slippy, so I might really regret this. But yeah, for those of you who are regular viewers, you might recognise that headland. But I think that's pretty much, have I covered everything? Yeah, so there you go. So yeah, you can claim for property damage under the Riot Damages Act, and you can claim for personal injury under the regular criminal injuries compensation scheme. But like I say, you mustn't be a criminal yourself, or it's not allowed. There you go. If, as always, you found that vaguely useful, vaguely interesting, vaguely accurate, please consider, because I'm remembering to say it now, please, I've actually written it on the end of the selfie stick, please consider liking, sharing, subscribing, and YouTubey stuff. Although, like I say, I'm at 25,000 now, and it's going to be a while before I get to a next milestone, so I'm not that bothered. Yeah. I meant to say where I was, because I know people like that. Once again, I am up at Pentyre near Newquay. There's got a lot of Pentyres, because as we keep mentioning, it's just the Celtic for headland, and this is indeed a headland. And what I'll do is, I'll just spin the camera around so you can have a little look at the sea. It's a bit overcast and cloudy today. It was really sunny earlier on, but I got distracted. I had to put some new tyres on my truck, because when I did that last video up at Carnbray, my truck had a bit of a row with a piece of flint stuck in the side of the road, and the flint beat the tyre wall.